evening and welcome to another edition of Kerrex Reviews. Today, we're going to be looking at a little bit of a lighter subject matter than last time. And that subject matter is on Raggedy Ann and Andy. Yeah, we all know about them. Created by Johnny Gruelle in the early 20th century, the brother and sister dolls made from the same cloth have had tons of adventures together. There are over 50 books over the course of nearly 100 years. And today, we're going to look at the Raggedy Ann and Andy movie. Yes, the infamous musical adventure with its drug-induced imagery and all-around insanity will be for one hell of a head trip. So let's take a look at Raggedy Ann and Andy. Roll the film. So yeah, apparently this isn't the musical adventure movie from the 70s by Richard Williams, but instead it's a much earlier short film produced by Fletcher Studios in the 1940s. Well, there goes about half the jokes that I already planned for this. The story begins as a little girl is on her way to a toy store to buy a Raggedy Ann doll. We cut to inside the store as the owner is attending to the sheep on wheels.
Good morning.
Oh?
Good morning.
Well, at least she said it in time with his inspection twice, and in the same voice. Otherwise, this joke would have completely fallen flat on its face. He then notices the girl behind him and does something no toy store owner could get away with today. And she asks for the doll at the window.
I'm sorry, but these two dolls must be sold together. $1 the pair.
But I only have 50 cents.
Wait, if you knew the doll was going to be there this whole time, then why didn't you better prepare yourself for this? I mean, that's why you always carry a few extra bucks in your pocket in case of this type of situation.
But I just can't separate them.
The owner then sits down and starts making up shit on how the dolls first came to be. We cut to a place called Ragland, and we see the place is practically an eldritch's paradise. Sure hope nobody vandalizes the sign, or else we'd have ourselves another Puckland incident. They then go to excruciating details over how a rag doll is created. And I gotta tell you, it reaches a point where you wonder if this is like porn for the tailor industry. And here's where we meet our titular eldritch abominations.
What's your name? I don't know. What's yours? Gee, I guess we haven't any.
Cut to a large portion of the audience screaming out, "It's in the title, you dumb shits!" Apparently they could only get a name by going to some lake-end castle, which makes me wonder how this place would function if the castle were to ever be destroyed, or if a revolution was to ever take place. And here's where we meet another familiar face in the Raggedy Ann universe.
Don't worry, I'm only the camel with the wrinkled knees.
So I'm guessing this was before he became all blue in the face, and for some reason he swallowed Goofy. Their trip doesn't last long as they have to refuel the camel
with wrinkled knees
as they take him to a gas station, or a sawdust station? Okay, so we know from ragdoll lore that they used to stuff them with sawdust, so does this essentially mean they're giving them a blood transfusion? It's here where they get sidetracked as Andy becomes infatuated with the Mexican type harlot doll, which starts affecting Ann. Oh, come on, I already did a review about a movie that talked about infidelity and... Wait, aren't Raggedy Ann and Andy supposed to be siblings? Then why are they being treated as a couple in this one? I get that they're knitted from the same cloth and regarded as soulmates, but this seems to be a little much. Yeesh, and people thought that Candy Hearts and Paper Flower song in A Musical Adventure was incestuous. So while the Mexicant is distracting Andy by taking him over to Glover's Lane, most likely with the intent to play a little finger music, Raggedy Ann and the camel,
with the wrinkled knees,
make it to the castle as she is placed in the intensive care unit.
Something is wrong with my little inside. I'm just as sick as can be. Don't let me faint. Someone get me a fan.
You guys can jump in at any time, you know.
Down.
So we cut back to Raggedy Andy at the Mexicant as we intercut with footage in the intensive care unit.
Possibly calico complications.
No. Pelvititis.
Concussion of the cotton.
Stitchinitis.
Hem stitches unusual size.
Patent feet.
Polka dots before the eye.
1 million ragdoll-related medical conditions later.
What's your name?
Archita, Amica, Conchita, Bebita, Pepita, Rosita.
It's funny because Spanish people have long names.
That's yours.
Mine? Gosh, I have a name.
What? You have no name. You are just a nobody without a name.
I think that seems a little bit tame compared to what would happen in real life.
¡Que no vas a olvidar en tu vida inválida del demonio! ¡Quítese, vieja zorra! ¡O que la voy a matar! ¡No, por favor! ¡Dios mío! ¡Cállate! ¡Suéltame!
Gosh, I better be going.
So Andy makes a run for it to meet up with Anne. Speak of the devil, we cut back to over there as she's apparently dying from a broken heart.
Breaking my heart.
There's nothing doctors can do about that.
Meanwhile, Raggedy Andy goes back to the Sawdust Monkey for directions on how to get to the naming castle. Which is a sentence I never thought I'd hear myself say my entire life. As the camel,
with the wrinkled knees.
manages to get Andy there just in time to have ourselves a melodramatic moment, where he then reveals that they now both have names.
Yours is Raggedy Ann. Mine is Andy.
The film then ups the melodrama by having him sing. And somehow his singing starts getting her heart going. Sheesh, if that's what gets you going, imagine what would have happened if his balls dropped.
So squeeze me, tease me, say I'm your own, but I'm no girl's toy. Oh, charm me, chase me, follow me home. Forget it, sweetie.
Now they're celebrating the fact that they now have names for some reason. Even the camel.
with the wrinkled knees.
And now they have their hands sewn together for absolutely no reason at all. As the girl is about to leave, the toy store owner decides to have a change of heart as he decides to give her the dolls after all.
Just because I can't sell you one doesn't mean that I can't give you both of them.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Hey, joke's on you, buddy. You just lost $1.50's worth of business on this deal. Well, that concludes the first part of this review. But don't go away, as there's 2 more shorts to go after this one. Yeah, can you believe they actually made 2 more after this? So our second feature for the evening is a short called Suddenly It's Spring. The story begins inside a gated building as we see a doctor giving up on his patient.
Do for Nancy?
Doctor, that doesn't mean that...
No. But the best doctor in the world for her right now would be the sun.
Well, she's a goner. We then get a close-up of Raggedy Ann in the little girl's arms. Guess she must have had a pretty nasty fight with Andy. Wonder how the divorce settlement went. The other toys start thinking of ways on how to get the sunlight going.
Sunshine.
And the sun hasn't been out yet this month.
Being completely ignorant on how weather patterns work, they go up in the clouds to talk to the sun so Raggedy Ann can try to convince him to see the sick little girl, showing ignorance of medical science and astroscience for that matter.
Mr. Sun?
Raggedy Ann decides to put on her Kamina shades as we see the sun is like a king of some sort.
I get burned up about it myself.
Oh, that really burns me up.
Wouldn't Mr. Cloud let you see our Nancy for just a little while?
I'm sure if you ask him that way, he couldn't refuse.
And sends her down to see old Cosby Cloud.
Mr. Cloud?
I wish I was facing the other way so I could see who was talking.
Bessie is terribly sick. And if Mr. Sun can just look at her, she'll get better.
I was powerful sorry, honey child.
But not without a good old slap of jello pudding.
Monster.
He then advises her to see Breezy Guy.
Push 'em along.
You know, I'm starting to think that this short may not entirely be scientifically accurate.
Where can I see Mr. Breezy?
Nobody done ever seen the wind.
So she decides to hitch a ride with Breezy to visit Mr. Zero. And we see down in his lair where we build up to who Mr. Zero is, only to reveal that it's...
Allow me to break the ice.